So we have a winter farmers market at Sugar House Creamery. So it's a bunch of local producers that kind of all just show up there. And it's definitely a smaller community that shows up there. So kind of like Wilmington, Upper J, Lake Placid, to kind of get your staples. So there's still really great veggies offered. You can get coffee. There's Kate provides soup and frozen meals that she produces here at the Good Bite Kitchen. Raw milk, meats, bread. So pretty much everything you need for the week is available. Sugar House Creamery saw that there was a need after the Keene Farmers Market closed. So after the season, people still wanted to get all that produce and kind of, their meats, their cheeses, things like that. So they kind of picked up the slack. And we all feel really, really lucky that that they're allowing us to use their farm to be able to kind of sell our goods and provide them to the community. And then of course I like it because that's where I get all my food. So I kind of work there and do my food shopping, which is nice. So we are in the Good Bite Kitchen, which is my sister Kate's restaurant. So it's a vegetarian lunch cafe on Main Street in Lake Placid. And basically, I wouldn't have a business if it wasn't for the generosity of my sister. In the off hours, she allows me to produce my ferments using her kitchen. So this is definitely, this tiny little restaurant is by far one of the best used spaces on Main Street, Lake Placid, because it is always hopping. Like in the summertime, I'm producing from like 6 at night all the way over, until the morning. And then she comes in and starts prepping for her lunch. So it is just like around the clock kicking in here in the summertime. So I've always been into fermenting at home, kind of more. I was doing yogurt and kombucha and like some wild wines and meads. And then maybe about 10 years ago, I got really sick. So I have Crohn's disease. So I ferment for like 100% for health reasons. They told me after I had like a foot of my intestines removed that, hey, this could easily happen again. They're like, this surgery doesn't cure you. It's like a Band-Aid. And then they wanted to put me on an even gnarlier medication. So I was just like, this isn't what I want to do. So I kind of like did a little research and kind of changed my diet and changed my stress level. So diet-wise, I started eating more whole foods, less sugar, and a lot of fermented foods. So I was like starving the bad bacteria and slowly repopulating with good bacteria. And then slowly I started turning my CSA into ferments to because there's so many more flavors out there. Kimchi's amazing, but there's so much more you can do with fermentation. So I just started fermenting whatever was seasonal and fresh. And then I started making more and more and kind of giving it away. And then naturally it became a business. One way that I think I fit into the local kind of food system is that the farmers email me directly with what they have fresh and in surplus. So basically I'm working with what could potentially be a waste product because farmers markets, people want the gorgeous, beautiful veggies. Like I'll take the broken carrots.
I feel like it's kind of like closing the circle of the local foods you can get. Like you can get bread and cheese and dairy and meat, and then there's this other component now of her ferments that kind of adds to all of those things.
Well, it's a preservation method too.
Yeah, and it's preservation, so the longevity of your food.
So yeah, I just ran out of the sweet corn relish, but essentially you bite in that sweet corn relish and it tastes like summer. It tastes like our sweet corn, our organic sweet corn is like a short period of time. You can get that. It's just this little short period of time in the Adirondacks with our growing season. But through fermentation, you can still enjoy that kind of later on in the year, which is, I miss it already because I'm out. So I think my real passion lies with not just producing the fermented food, especially because I do it more for my own health reasons. My passion kind of lies in teaching fermentation, at-home fermentation. One of the things I noticed when I was doing different events this summer or occasionally at some of the markets was that people were a little nervous about at-home fermentation, if they were going to mess it up, what signs to look for. So I created a little kit, and it's the same kind of way that I ferment. So I always ferment all in glass, and I jar in glass. So I have the little kits with instructions in them to kind of help people get over the hump of at-home fermentation. So what's really cool about fermenting in glass is that you can really see through it, and you can see how the ferments are alive, and you can see little bubbles going on in them, and you can see kind of all the activity. So as the microbes kind of are doing their thing and digesting some of the sugars, they produce carbon dioxide. And that's also the reason why you have these little airlocks kind of burp themselves. They build up pressure like this one, and then they kind of like will burp themselves and let out the carbon dioxide. And these little airlocks also kind of prevent the microbes, any microbes that might be floating around in the air, from kind of landing on your ferments. And then kind of the system I use too is really nice. I use little 4-ounce glass jars, super accessible and attainable, and they kind of fit with the airlock and keep everything pushed down. And then if you ever have like too much liquid, it goes up into the jar and creates like, there's like a recess. So instead of having like any liquid that might kind of build up and want to come out, it'll go into the recess. But mainly I just like to like hang out with my microbes, like just like look at them. I don't know, spend some time in here just chilling. I'll be like, yeah. So it's kind of fun with the fermentation kits. It gives you that like connection to your food and to the fermentation process. And then you can just pop it right in the dishwasher. So it's super easy to clean. Also with the fermentation kits, like you can take off the silicone airlock and just put on your metal lid and pop it right in the fridge. So it's like really user friendly. The microbes that you're trying to propagate, or I'm trying to propagate, all come from the soil. So they're called soil microbes, lactic acid bacteria. It's a big grouping. And they live in really healthy organic soil. So when I get my fresh veggies directly from them, they're just covered with this stuff. And all I'm doing is creating an environment for them to propagate and for them to kind of reproduce with mainly salts and keeping oxygen out, that kind of thing. So it's huge for me to be able to get these super healthy vegetables that are grown in super healthy soil. And then that's kind of what makes the fermentation process work the best. And then they also kind of, really importantly, they store their vegetables kind of dirty. They don't wash all the dirt off them, so they're actually storing their vegetables, and it kind of helps them preserve it, and then it helps me. So when if I was to buy carrots from Juniper Hill this time of year, they're going to be stored dirty, they wash them to order, and then they bring them to me. So they have all that gorgeous probiotics still on them. But if I was to go and buy them from a supermarket, they're going to be wrapped in plastic, sitting on the shelf, older. So as that happens, kind of putrefying bacteria builds up and lactic acid bacteria goes down. So for me, sourcing, not only just because our local organic farmers are awesome, but it actually makes for a better ferment and a better fermentation process. Hi, my name is Corey Deans, and I'm the owner and creator of Small Town Cultures. We're a local lacto fermentation company. So you can find my products on the shelves in the refrigerated section, keep cold, at North Country Co-op. And they're also featuring some of my products in their in-house deli. So this is our Ruby sauerkraut. All right, hope to see you there.